Hi, this is Aaron, your editor speaking. Before we launch into our regular silliness here at Steven Seagal, we wanted to take a moment to acknowledge something much more serious. From the beginning of this whole project, we've been making references to this podcast as a sort of new supersize me. And I think that's been a really fun way to talk about it, and we've gotten a lot of joy out of doing that. Especially in the last episode, we made quite a few jokes about it, and they were funny, and we stand by that. Now, since that episode aired, we've heard of the tragic and untimely death of Morgan Spurlock, who sadly passed away from cancer at the age of only 53. We wanted to take this moment to acknowledge that and to say to his family and loved ones and all those who loved him, our deepest condolences. We are so sorry for your loss. May he rest in peace. Now, if you'll excuse us, let's get back to the show.
But you can't check your six.
It's kind of like, taking a screwdriver to a gunfight.
What's happening? Just like old Tom.
All right, what was this movie?
Attrition.
Attrition.
That's right.
The Platonic form of a Steven Seagal movie.
That's right.
Hello and welcome to episode 47
Is it really?
of Steven Seagal.
We got two
Can
left.
you believe it?
We got two left. That's
After
it.
this, we have two left. We
I
have two
can't wait.
left. And ladies and
Doesn't
gentlemen,
feel like it.
we have, friends, we have a very important one this evening. I think this,
is it really?
this is an important one for me. I think this is an important movie.
Really?
In the Seagal lore. Not important
Seagal-
like, on
in
an
the
objective
lore?
scale.
Within a very
I
narrow
think-
sense.
I think in the
Lord.
I think this is the Rosetta Stone of Seagal's career.
This is the end of his career.
Yeah, it took a long time to get here.
Hans, you
2018
understand the
I think
Rosetta Stone
2018
wasn't
is
the
the
first
last-
thing written, right?
Yeah.
I think 2018 is the last year of his acting career.
Yeah, and then he finally releases the thing that explains the whole oeuvre.
So
Well,
actually,
is-
it's not the Rosetta Stone. It's like the lost season finale of Seagal's career.
Yeah,
It's
he
like,
just
here's
lays
the
everything
answer to
out.
the puzzle box we've all been waiting for.
Yeah.
And it does
Yeah,
it
thank
leaves
you,
you
JJ.
unsatisfied and
Yes.
it doesn't really
Yes.
explain anything.
Yes.
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 Yeah, this is where we get all the answers about who Steven Seagal is as a filmmaker.
Well, as a filmmaker, I think that was On Deadly Ground.
Ho. No. Hans, I'm Aaron, by the way.
I'm Zach. It was.
I'm Hans.
Okay. And Hans has graciously agreed to do the plot summary for this one. So what happens in what are the events of the film that is called 2018's Attrition?
Let me tell you what happens in 2018's Attrition. This movie is 1 hour and 30 minutes long. This is exactly one Paul Blart. And in this movie, for about half of that time, you get nothing. Literally nothing. Nothing happens. And then the last half of the movie is when the actual plot takes place. So Seagal is a doctor in a remote village.
Well, he's like a chiropractor.
He's like a chiropractor.
He's doing like
chiropractor.
acupuncture.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
he also like fixes a woman's like neck for it's anyway, he's magic in some way.
He's better
some,
at Eastern medicine than the actual people of the East.
as is usual.
As is the norm.
He is the savior of this village somehow for some reason. Everything was terrible until he moved in, and now everything is great. And there's a line out the door at his doctor's office where he spends way too much time with one patient, and everybody's complaining about how they don't get to see the doctor. His buddy shows up out of nowhere for no reason, and he takes time away from the patients that he already spends way too much time with so that he can have a little, like, kung fu lesson. And, that doesn't have anything to do with anything. So then he goes back up to talking to his patients, and he gets taken away from them again for some other reason. I can't remember what that one was. Then he, new day, he gets taken away from them again because, oh, no, there was a boy who doesn't talk to anybody, and his partner, his, like, chiropractor partner, explained that it's because the boy's mother was killed in their home, and so he doesn't talk to anybody anymore, and since Seagal moved in, that kind of stuff doesn't happen anymore. And then new day, Seagal goes into the office, and the boy comes in crying, saying his father is going to kill himself. So Seagal goes and convinces the father not to kill himself, and then that doesn't come up ever again. The boy doesn't come up ever again. The father doesn't come up ever again.
Nope.
We're like 20 minutes in at this point, and it's just sort of random events. You get this flow of just nothing. So Seagal's walking down the street, new day, walks past the shop, picks up something, and just keeps on walking. And some bystander, understandably, thinks that Seagal just stole something from the shop. So he says, "I will challenge you to a death match."
Yes. Yeah.
So Seagal beats the crap out of him, and then
destroys the shop, by the way.
Well, then we'll get there. But he beats the crap out of this guy outside in the rain, and then after beating the crap out of him, then explains that Seagal saved the shop. He saved their owners, gave them, I don't know, some medical treatment or sent them to school or something. I can't remember. It didn't matter. And as payment, to keep their honor, he takes stuff from the shop for free. Which, sure, I guess.
Yeah.
And then that's supposed to explain why he was basically stealing. And the owner of the shop comes out and defends him and says to this poor man who just got the kicked out of him laying on the ground, "How dare you start a fight with this man who you honestly thought was stealing from my shop? He is my savior." And then guess what? They never come up again.
Well, no, you forgot. The man gets down on his knees and says, "Take me as your student.
He says,
Teach me.
I want you to be my sensei," or whatever it is, and
Be my Sifu."
Sifu. So he is then Seagal's right. You think that he's going to be Seagal's right hand man throughout the rest of the movie, and then he isn't. He's like his another assistant in his chiropractor's office in this remote village. And then he doesn't show up until the very end of the movie during the dance party. We'll get to the dance party. He shows up at the dance party then, too. He doesn't matter. We are now 45 minutes into this movie, and nothing has happened. 45 minutes in, and every single one of these plot points is completely meaningless, because now a new day, another guy walks into Seagal's office. You might think, rightly so, that this has nothing to do with anything either, but you would be wrong. Because this man,
the whole plot of the movie.
This man brings the whole plot of the movie, and the plot of the movie is this. He and his two daughters walk into Seagal's office, and he says that his third daughter, surprisingly much older than the two younger daughters, has been kidnapped, and he needs Seagal to get him back, or to get her back.
But why has she been kidnapped, Hans?
Well, hold on. She has been kidnapped, and Seagal needs to get her back. And if Seagal says, "No, I don't do that kind of stuff anymore," and the guy says, "Okay, if you won't do it, I will abandon my two daughters with you and leave." That's how he gets Seagal to do the dirty work, to get his other daughter back. So Seagal says, "Fine, keep your daughters. I will go get your other daughter back." It's
a pretty funny gambit, all things considered. My daughter is kidnapped, so if you don't help me get her unkidnapped, I'm going to abandon my other daughters.
With you.
Really putting all the cards on the table there.
I can't. I'm watching this movie with I was running my hands through my hair. I was so irritated and so stressed out almost, because I was infuriated by what I was watching. It was so ridiculous.
Picture some movie about really important financial moves or stocks or whatever, like Margin Call or The Big Short or something, and the scene when people they're running their hands through their hair and just chain smoking and yelling at each other and you don't understand half the terms. They're just we need to forte the triage right now or we're gonna be underwater. It's that, but Han's watching this movie. He's just sweating and pacing.
I was just so angry. I was so mad.
Just ripping papers.
Then you hard cut to this poor girl getting kidnapped, and she is kidnapped by this guy who is the leader of some gang, and he is, you're gonna have to correct me on this because I don't actually know what I saw, but he's like magic. somehow.
Yeah.
And he can't die, I think was what it was, and he needs someone else's help who's also magic so that he can die. I don't really know what that means, but this dude's daughter who got kidnapped, apparently she's magic, and she can
Not
help
that we
fix
ever
his
see
problem.
anyone do any
No,
magic.
no, it never comes up. It's ugh. So she gets kidnapped because this guy just knows that she's magic, and she needs her he needs her magic to unmagic him so that he can die.
It's been so long since we've had the bullcrap, just meaningless all magic.
Oh my god! And you don't see any of that.
No.
So then the rest of the movie is a montage of Seagal getting the band back together when you have four people.
The
It's
rest
like
of the movie, it's literally a Soderbergh heist. It's literally Ocean's 11.
It
does
is.
the whole
It's
split
like
screen and everything too.
It's like imagine an Ocean's 11 where they are
With like characters we know nothing about.
Right, he has to go and get his buddies from all of their other jobs, get them all together so they can do their job, their one last job together, whatever.
Yes.
And it does that same like suave guy music, hard cut to somebody you don't know who is pulling their own heist job, whatever, and then they get the call from Seagal at the very end of it. But they have nothing like that might work in another movie. It worked in Ocean's 11, obviously, because that was the plot. In this movie, you have to remember we're like 50 minutes in. You've been sitting watching this trash for
More than
almost
halfway through the movie.
The
For
movie
almost a
starts
full
with
hour.
a half hour left.
It's right. It does. It's
This is
ridiculous.
like the third scene in what this movie's supposed to be.
So all of a sudden, now you have four new people who are apparently extremely important, even though they don't play into anything at all past this point. Really, they go
you will
on
not
the mission.
get to know
but
any of them except for the hot girl. That's it.
Yeah.
pretty much, it's ridiculous. So they
Whose
all
entire character is hot girl.
Yeah.
They all-
What is her role, hot girl? What is her job, hot girl? What is her skill, hot girl?
her introduction. She's in like a surveillance van, and they're trying to get into this club to take down some bad guy, drug dealer or whatever. And the guy who's on like the surveillance equipment says they're only. I you not. This was my line because it was so just ridiculous. He says they're only letting in hot girls and pizza boys, and she says, "Where's a pizza boy when you need one?" and takes off her shirt and walks into the club. Like, oh my god, it's painful. And this has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah.
So
It is establishing the strongest character, which is hot girl. It's establishing her trait as hot girl. It's establishing her heist skill as hot girl. It's like
I
doing more
guess.
character development than the rest of the movie.
We
I
know
guess.
more about her than any other character.
Yeah.
I,
Far more.
it's infuriating. So then you have 20 minutes of Seagal getting the band back together and talking through this plan of how they're going to infiltrate this place that he knows is where this girl is being held after being kidnapped.
For
And-
how late the heist starts in this heist film, they spend a lot of time on the setup of the heist.
They do. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. And the whole time you're cutting back and forth between the setup of the heist and this girl who is being held captive by Magic Man. And he, like, I don't even... He's trying to get her to do something, but you don't know what it is. You're never told what it is. Like,
Yes.
she predicts... She somehow knows that bad guy's right-hand man killed his own father a year ago on this one day. And she says, you know, don't forget to celebrate your father's death day or something like that. And he goes, how did she know that he died on this day? And that's like all you get, that she has some kind of magic abilities.
Well, you also get the naked dream visions.
I actually forgot about the naked dream visions.
I forgot about the naked dream visions.
Don't forget the naked dream
visions.
visions.
Throughout the whole movie, Seagal has
This is even
naked
more
dream
Seagal than I
visions of this
remembered.
woman. Why? Why?
It's just her like floating in space,
That's
Yeah.
being
never
wrapped in
explained.
like sheer
It's like
gauze.
Cirque du Soleil. She's like descending from the ceiling.
It's so, but it's in Seagal's dreams.
Yes.
Yeah.
He had nothing to do with this at all. He had nothing to do with her. She didn't know who he was. There was no connection there. But he was destined to save her. I don't know. So
Yes.
then you have a scene where
Classic.
evil Magic Man wants her to unmagic him, and she says no, and he says okay, fine, bring them in, and they bring in 3 dudes from her village. And he picks a card. He says, "Do you like to play cards?" and picks cards from a table. and then kills one of them. And then she relents and says, okay, I'll unmagic you. And then you hard cut back to Seagal, who's doing the heist again. And then they do the heist. And then you end the movie on him, Seagal, of course, rescuing her. All of his crew, they all, have a scene to themselves, but they don't really matter. Seagal rescues the girl. And then you hard cut to a party where Seagal is playing blues music in in something that looks like a scene that would look like it came from feudal Japan, but he's playing blues music, and everyone, the whole cast, is like dancing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the movie.
This movie
I
rules.
can't.
I
was so angry. I was so angry.
Yes.
The whole thing, because you were right. You're right. What you said. The movie doesn't start until like 50 minutes in. I've been sitting here watching garbage. And I'm just so mad. And then we didn't get to talk about it until we watched this movie last week. And then
I watched this more than a week ago.
This
I'm
is
very
probably
impressed with how much you remembered, with how long gap.
I forgot a lot of that.
I think this is the only one of these that I haven't come in like hot off the press.
Pretty hot.
I'm just saying. This is the only. No, listen. This is the only one where I didn't like finish it right before we started recording, and I think I'm more upset having stewed on it for a whole week. I think I'm more angry than I would have been. I hated this. I hated it. I hated it so much.
This really is like the Platonic Seagal, because of everything you described. Like the whole time you're talking, like hearing it laid out, it was even more obvious than already. Like
yes.
I was like, oh, that's Seagal, that's a Seagal element. But also very classic Platonic Seagal. We are just so diametrically opposed. Like we are further. To be fair, this isn't like, oh, I loved it 5 stars. This is still like a 1-star movie for me. But I am actually kind of upset at how much I didn't hate it.
This is back. We're back in.
Yeah,
I hated it.
Yeah, we haven't been here in like 20 episodes. We're really in it. This is true Seagal.
My thesis is holding true.
The first 50 minutes are so boring. The first 50 minutes, like, it's meaningless. It's boring. The movie's not even happening. Movie doesn't start for half an hour, but I kind of watched it and I was like, I didn't hate that. I was like confused. I'm like, I didn't hate that.
So my thesis is holding true.
Yeah.
This is the Platonic form of a Seagal movie. I said in my Letterboxd review, 1 star. I gave it 1 star in my Letterboxd review. And I said, this is the Seagal-iest Seagal movie I have ever seen. If you want to know what a Seagal movie is, watch 2018's Attrition. Except don't watch this movie, because part of being a Seagal movie is that it sucks. Like, in order to be an authentic Seagal movie, it has to suck.
But, so you know how when you
yes.
read Plato, you know how like the act of taking like the Platonic ideal, the concept of something and making it real kind of like bastardizes it somewhat? Like you have the idea of a chair, and then like, you know, you bastardize that somewhat by making a chair, and then you bastardize that further by making a painting of a chair, like a representation of this representation of the ideal. I feel like, I'm fighting my inner demons of saying it's worth mentioning. I'm not going to say it. I felt it bubble up inside of me and I pushed down. It's an interesting discussion point to make. That doesn't work grammatically. It's worth mentioning.
Dear listeners, Zach sent us a link to an article that he wrote for work. In one of the paragraphs at the very beginning, he started off by saying it's worth mentioning.
And that just struck me like that gave me some psychic damage. It struck me like a poison spear. It's worth mentioning though that whenever we get into the weeds, the nuances, like you can't really have one movie that is purely like, you know, the representation of Seagal, because you have like, you know, if you were to talk to a person who only saw early 2000s Seagal, they'd be like, yeah, Seagal movie. He like teams up with a rapper and there's like some kind of like bad wire food like stunt doubling. Versus like, you know, if you talk to someone who saw like 90s Seagal, they're like, yeah, weird environmentalism. And like you talk to, you know, the 2016 Seagal and it's like just excessive nudity and he barely shows up. Like the different eras have a different kind of flavor to them.
Different feels.
So this is like, you know, it's kind of like there's a white wine, there's red wines, there's rosés, like, you know, there's, you know, dry, there's bitter, there's fruity, like different wines. But this is just like, if you're like, what is wine? Like, yes, there are nuances, there are different wines, but like this is just wine. So like there are different Seagals, there are different eras, different epochs, but like this is Seagal.
Do you think this is
the
like-
closest the human form can create to like distill Seagal into
You
one
see, like,
movie?
Yeah.
you think this is like the average? This is like the perfect average
It's
of all
not
of
the
these
average.
movies.
It
it's
picks
No?
out all of the
the-
particular Seagalisms from each movie and just like strings them together. It's just a
It's
series
great-
of Seagalisms.
It's a greatest hits album. It's a
Yes.
it's a mediocreest hits album.
Yes.
Greatest hits.
Well, and it should all make sense because I need this to be part of our conversation. That the sole writing credit on this movie is Steven Seagal.
Yes.
Yeah, that
It
tracks.
is the,
He wrote this.
this is just the apotheosis of Seagal.
It's
And then this happens,
everything
and then this
he ever
happens.
wanted in a movie.
And then this
But-
happens, and then this happens, and then this happens, and I save this guy, I save this guy, I save this guy, I
Yeah,
save
let's-
this guy.
let's
just go
through-
I guess we
There's
should have
Eastern
plot
spiritualism
now.
and medicine.
Yeah. Let's just
I
go through all the
Rescued a Woman.
Seagalisms
Oh
here.
my God.
He gets to get preachy at the very beginning and then like
Yes.
in a monologue at the beginning.
He does.
He gets preachy in a monologue at the end.
He does.
He gets to just walk into people's lives and solve their problems by what does it take to change a man? Kick him in the
Effortlessly.
nards. Like he gets to do that. He gets to recreate his scene from that CD bar in what was it, like Fire Down Below, where he kicks that guy in the crotch and says, "What does it take to change a man?"
Yes.
He beats up a guy on the street and basically says the same thing.
And then the guy looks up to him and says, "Teach me."
Yes. He gets to be an expert in Eastern traditional medicine, including chiropractic and acupuncture.
Yes,
He gets to be the savior of his village.
Yes, he gets to be the savior of his adopted village. He gets to,
gets to be
absolutely
more-
clown on people who are very obviously better at martial arts than him.
Well, and just
There-
largely, he gets to be more like culturally appropriated, like Asian than Asian people.
Yes,
Yep.
he
is
has.
more everything than they are at their own
He has a
culture.
secret. Has a secret background in either the military or a three-letter agency.
Yeah.
He has a team of experts that come up out of nowhere to help him in the final act. There
Including
is
a hot woman that he
magic,
just,
which
like-
may not.
There's a hot woman that
Yeah.
just points out and he's like, "You're a hot woman," and she's just like, "Hee hee, yeah, I am. Yeah, hee, I love you."
Yes.
Like,
Yes, there is magic that may not be magic, a la Marked for Death.
yes. This is the actually
You cannot
this is
escape the magic.
This is the Steven Seagal vertical slice.
Yes.
It really is.
Yeah.
Oh, at the end, he gets to play the guitar and sing.
Yes.
Yes.
They even brought that back from Fire Down Below when he was Steven Slowhand Seagal.
Yeah.
He really. You know what? You're absolutely right. This really is just like this is his greatest hits. This is everything that he likes
Mediocre
about
hits.
himself in one
Yeah.
movie.
But you know how
Absolutely
like,
every single Seagalism roped into one.
But you know when like a musical artist is creating like an album, how it's like more than just, I mean, sometimes it is just like a bunch of songs, but like ideally it is more than just a bunch of songs. Like there is
Yeah,
a
they,
thought
like, tell a
into the
story.
order and the
There's a-
pacing, and there's a flow.
They
of
want you to
them,
feel
like-
a certain way as you go through the album. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how the greatest hits or mediocre hits album, like you get all the bangers, like you have all the songs that you recognize and like, but you like completely lose that flow.
Yeah.
So like, you know, there's still value in like listening through the albums of past ones, like, and not just listen to the greatest hits. Like this is more disjointed because it feels
Yeah.
perhaps if you compare it to some of these past movies, like these elements can, you know, maybe come out of left field even like more jarringly than before. Like, oh, this is happening now. Like, oh, this magic is happening now. Like, and it's not
Yeah.
woven in as smoothly as it was. And like, you know, Marked for Death or something. Like Marked for Death, the magic is, you know, tied tightly into that story. There is a
Yeah.
pacing, there's a flow. It's not a good one. Here it's like more jarring because it is just the greatest hits. It's like we're listening. It's like, you know, going from you know, Good Vibrations to like Surfing USA or something. Like, oh, those are just right next to each other. Okay.
Yeah. This one just feels like every now and again he looks to the camera and says, "Hey, remember Glimmer Man?"
Yeah. He's like, "Hey, remember I did this?" Like,
And I'm like, "Unfortunately, Steven, I do. Yes."
like having like a rapper sidekick is like kind of the one big one that's missing.
Yeah, the only thing missing is he doesn't have a rapper side.
He doesn't have like a Nas or DMX or something.
But I see. So here's a question. This is
That would have been very jarring in this movie.
That would have been wild. Here's a very serious question that I didn't think of until we're talking about it right now. like, does this movie only make sense because this is the 47th Steven Seagal film we've seen?
Well, makes sense. I don't know if listening to Hans's description, I'm like, yeah, that's a movie that makes sense.
Well, no, but I mean, like, I think our experience of this movie is radically different from someone.
Yeah,
who's
it's like
seen,
that. It's like
if this is your first one, or like even like your 10th, I don't think it would make nearly, like, it wouldn't have the same impact.
It's
at
like
all.
that episode of The Simpsons when Bart gets like trapped in France, and he's just
Yeah.
like working in like this French sweatshop, and then all of a sudden he goes up to the police officer and he's like, "Je m'appelle." All of a sudden he's like, "Oh, I didn't even know I know French." It's like that we've just been immersed in it. That I'm like, wait, we speak Seagal. When did that happen?
You guys, you analyzed this a lot more than I did, and you are very, very right. I guess
You remembered a lot more of the plot than I did. I just
because
Yeah.
I was so
I forgot
focused.
so much
I
of
was
it.
so focused on
Yeah.
the plot because I was so angry at the plot. I was
just
mad
like-
at the movie, and I focused on the details that I was mad at. You were
all I
more-
did throughout the movie was just like I pointed at the screen and said, "Wait, we've done this before. We've been here before."
I think you guys were more focused on the all around
Yeah.
theme, the themes of the movie. It's what you're best at is the themes. I was just mad. I need
I was just
to
pointing
take a
at the
step back
screen.
sometimes. I think.
and saying, "Wait, the Patriot. Wait, Belly of the Beast. Wait, Into the
Just
Sun."
calling out references, which I already do in like every movie that I watch anyway. So basically
Yeah.
we're the same.
That's just a guy thing.
But yeah, I like maybe this movie was made for us. Like, there's really no other.
I don't like that.
How else?
This
Who
is
else
like
could appreciate
this
this
is
movie?
a
with
fan
any
service
depth?
film. Is that what you're saying?
This is friends.
This is the Seagal fans. If you like Seagal, don't. There's something wrong with you. But if you
Stop
like
it
Seagal,
right now,
stop it.
knock it off.
But if you do, you will love this movie. This is the most Seagal we have ever gotten.
Okay,
This is
so
the most Seagal per Seagal.
you want to know
Yeah.
something though? I'm genuinely scared because if that's the case, what do we like the next two?
We got two more of these.
They were made in the same year, and the last one is the sequel to the very first movie from the 80s. Like, that should be the fan service movie. That should be...
this is the climax, and then that's just kind of the flying action. That's just we're coasting out. That's the,
Yeah,
that's
we're
the
just getting
epilogue.
resolution.
Like, this is the the narrative peak, and then the
The
next
narrative
are like
peak.
the
So-
epilogue.
So
I'm
we've
fully
had-
like the Harry
expecting
Potter
Beyond the
epilogue
Law
are
to
gonna
just be an hour and a
suck
half long
so bad.
monologue about the environment.
Yeah,
Well, no, about crime.
about neighborhood values.
So
And
what we
tolerance.
were, we started out about here, and then
Yeah.
5 movies in, we got to about here, and then
Yeah.
from then to
Holding your hand up
47.
and saying "here" is notably excellent in an audio-only medium.
I feel like you'll understand what I'm saying because from movie 5 to movie 47, we've gone in a pretty like relatively linear line downwards for a while, a long while. It's gone up a little bit, it's gone down a little bit, but it's been a
Pretty
downward
linear
trend
regression, yeah.
for sure. And then we had just this teeny little like boop upwards with this one. and then I think it's not going to coast. I think it's going to go right back down for the last 2.
It just hits every single Seagalism we've ever identified, other than having like a random rapper sidekick. We'll see what we can do with these last 2 movies.
We could say it hits every single
It's a
note,
rapper
but it's one of
sidekick.
those weird, like non-traditional scales where each of the notes is like flatter than it should be. Like like a busted wind chime. It hits every single note, but the notes are very discordant and unpleasing to
Yeah,
the
he's
ear.
playing in quarter tones.
Yeah.
When somebody takes a well-known, extremely popular song and then converts it to be like 1 key lower than it should have been.
Yeah.
It's still the same song, but it just
like,
doesn't
hurts,
sound
it, like,
right.
breaks your brain and it kind of
Yeah.
that makes you sad. Yeah.
I'm recognizing this, but I can't hum along.
Yeah. This also may be much in the way that Seagal is at his most indulgent here. He is writing the movie of his own like previous narrative beats. Kind of more just like put like a smoothie. Like he just toss them into a blender and just like, whatever
Oh.
order they get mixed up in is fine.
I'm looking at my notes. I just remembered something.
Yeah.
We completely missed the "You're my son" reveal that didn't matter.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
there's a major character reveal in like the middle of the movie that doesn't matter at all.
It's one of
That
those
his old best
pieces in the
friend is-
beginning
Yeah.
that doesn't have anything to do with the rest of the movie that comes up for no reason.
Yeah. His old
Yeah.
Aikido buddy, it turns
Oh,
out, is the
yes.
son of their like martial arts master, their Sifu.
You're right.
There's
Yeah.
this reveal, and then it never comes up again. It's in the scene in which Sifu is introduced, and that's the last time we ever see him, and it doesn't matter at all.
He says the guy,
Classic.
his buddy says they go to him because they're about to do this heist, and so they go visit their old kung fu master, and because of course, and for no reason, out of nowhere, his buddy asks their kung fu master, Sifu, why were you always so much harder on me than you were on Seagal? And he says, because you're often harder on those you love. I've been waiting my whole life for the right moment to tell you this, and now is the perfect moment. You are my son. And that's it.
It's like a random Tuesday. They just like both decided
No,
to go
that's
and see
perfect.
their old karate teacher. Like that wasn't.
That's the whole movie. And we didn't even touch on the Seagal gets super preachy about something, like he has like a pet cause. You're absolutely right. That does come back.
Yeah.
That's from early Seagal eras. The
Yeah.
pet cause in this one is that kung fu should be available to everybody, regardless of your nationality and regardless of
Yeah.
your faith.
He has a that's
Cultural
I like the emotional
appropriation
monologue
is
of the
fake.
It kind of caught me off.
because that happens right before his whole guitar jam thing. Like
It
at the very
does.
end.
It took me by surprise. Like it came out of left field. Like I didn't realize that was the problem they were fighting.
I
thought it was
not.
Magic
It
Man.
wasn't. It was not.
You remember when the problem they were fighting was the loss of neighborhood values, and the loss of neighborhood values is exactly one jerk that everybody hates. It's like that. Like, I thought the problem was the kidnappers, but no, it's kung fu not being available enough to the
Right.
masses.
Yeah, and it kind of, to me, it
If
just
we
felt
open up
like
a couple more dojos and a couple more strip malls, we'll be fine.
to me, it felt like Seagal was just saying, "Please stop yelling cultural appropriation at me. It's fine."
Actually, yeah. They're probably a metatextual.
It's-
Yes.
Yeah,
It's so
I made a whole movie
ridiculous.
about how cultural appropriation is okay.
He's like, actually, the problem is there aren't more people from Lansing, Michigan pretending to be Asian.
You're the real racist if you think about it.
Oh my god. He also he does you mentioned this, Aaron, earlier, and I forgot about it. There's a scene in the same thing in the montage of things that don't have anything to do with anything else. It's leading up to the final fight because Magic Man's crony meets Seagal and they have a fight.
Black Claw Ma.
Yes.
Who,
But-
another Seagalism, he just inexplicably knows from somewhere.
Right, exactly. He
They
shows
have
up,
a
knows where
history.
Seagal is, comes right up to Seagal, and then reveals that they have this huge past, this huge history between one another.
Even though
And-
the first time Seagal saw him in this movie, he did not recognize him.
That's right. Oh my god, it's so bad.
So,
but then
another Seagal-
they
oh, no, go ahead.
well, real quick though, but they have a fight, and they have a fight in a shop, which is another Seagal. That's another Seagalism.
Yep.
They
They
have a
go
fight
to
in a shop,
like a
and
traditional medicine shop,
they trash the place,
buy
completely
that
trash the
powdered deer
place.
penis.
But
Aaron. No.
the di-
Don't make me think about that.
the difference here though is the guy that owns the shop is during the fight the whole time yelling at them, "Please stop, you're trashing my store." And then Seagal gets up after beating the crap out of this guy and turns to the shopkeep, who's literally like arms in the air. "Why did you destroy my store? Well, you could have taken it outside." And Seagal says, "Don't worry, I'll pay for everything," and then leaves.
Yep.
Like,
And it's like an artisanal tea shop or something.
Yeah.
it's just the stupidest thing, and you're so right. I didn't think about it. I wasn't thinking about it. I wasn't trying to analyze it. I should have taken a step back and not gotten as angry, because you're absolutely right. It's just every single Seagalism smushed into one
Just like
film.
in a row.
One
Right,
Like,
one
then we
after
do this
another.
one, and then we do this one, and then we do this one.
Yeah.
Schoolism. The title of this film is Attrition. Does that relate the title Attrition? How does that
no, it doesn't have anything to do with anything.
to what happens?
Nothing.
Steven
Nothing.
Seagal is
They don't
attrition.
say the word attrition in the movie.
It's not a war of attrition. They don't wait
No.
anybody out.
Nope.
The whole thing gets resolved in like a day and a half.
This poster that I'm looking at has
the whole
subtitle,
main
A Story
issue of the
Kung Fu
movie
Honor.
isn't revealed until the day before they fix it. Like it's
Yeah.
What were
Yeah.
you saying, Zach?
I said this poster that I'm looking at has the subtitle A Story of Kung Fu and Honor. This isn't exactly
Awesome.
a Seagalism, but can we talk about the production value of this one?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, I guess the post-production value. The production value itself is like fine compared to the standards.
Camera's
of what
always
we've been
in
used
focus.
To.
That's good.
Like it's
Yeah.
better than some, worse than some.
That's a
The
low
thing that's
bar.
the thing that's interesting to me is the Adobe After Effects-ness of it.
It's pretty bad. Yeah.
Like, and I don't even mean to be harsh on Adobe. Like, that can be a professional level tool used for, like, I don't know exactly what the VFX powerhouses use, but like, you know, we know that when they were the editor for Parasite, which is editing that thing in like Final Cut Pro, like from 10 years ago or something, like some old
Yeah.
version of Final. Like, you don't need crazy elitist tools.
No.
Adobe After Effects itself is fine, but like the very specific vibe, the aesthetic of like a 2009 like YouTube gaming channel intro. And it's like XX Dark Lord 72 Master Chief. Like whenever he
Hey guys, I'm going
clearly-
to teach you how to get through the third encounter of
Yes.
Halo CE.
Yeah.
And there's an intro that doesn't really have anything to do with like the look and feel and the goals of that YouTube channel, but like clearly like you can look at it and see what Andrew Kramer Video Copilot tutorial they followed to do it. Like you can see
Yeah.
the layers of like the blood. Like that's the intro to this movie, is like weird kind of 2D 3D layers.
Yeah.
And then throughout the rest of the movie, honestly, they shot it, they edited it, and it looked like somewhat, not like good, it looked like to the quality of the fights you'd expect for this type of movie. Like they did their fight scenes, and they were totally fine by themselves. The fight scenes were finished. And then somebody went in and just put a bunch of digital blood splurts. Like a fight scene is happening, a dude just gets punched in the face 5 times. We've seen this in all these movies, but in this one, just a bunch of action essentials, like, you know, stock,
Like the same blood splatter.
yeah,
the same
blood
one.
splatter just happens with each punch.
Not
And
just
that's
like punched
throughout
in
the
the
whole
face.
movie.
A dude will get punched in the chest, and
Yeah.
blood splatter will come out of his back.
Yeah,
Like,
like it's you're. But the thing is, you're watching, and underneath it, you're like, the fight scene is. It didn't need it. It's not
Yeah.
like, oh, he got shot and here's a bad
was
blood spray
fine.
effect. It's a situation where blood isn't involved,
It wasn't great.
but they
like, it
randomly
was
just have digital
fine.
blood shooting out of him, and that
Yeah.
is like 90% of the visual effects in this movie.
it's like you're in a video game and you turn the gore slider all the way up.
Yeah. And like if you're it's like but the SNES version of this movie, it would be like sweat, like it would be like, you know, blue or orange or something like coming off them because it can't be blood. It looks like that. It's like that kind of blood effect.
It's
Like,
Yeah, it's
so
rough.
it's kind of this is almost like a Mortal Kombat movie, but like specifically Mortal Kombat like for the Sega Genesis.
man, that
Okay, Hans.
I just that's one of those things that you say that to me and I understand what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You say that to most of our friends and they'll understand what you're talking about. You say that to anyone else and they're like,
Like,
what
what?
the hell?
But like the way that when like Johnny Cage just like punches like Scorpion, just like blood just kind of shoots out of his face, but like there's no visible injury. It's like that.
Yeah.
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 No,
get
I love the comparison. It just amuses me to think about any like normal person listening to you say that and thinking, what the are you talking?
And you have to be like, no, trust me, he's onto something.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
he's cooking.
that's yep. No, you're right. That's my point. It's just very funny.
Yeah, I think actually much like how this is his most indulgent, and this is maybe also our most indulgent episode, I feel like the metaphorical comparisons like per minute we're really getting into here, like the word paintings that we are crafting, we're spitting them out
Yeah.
faster than usual. Like we're perhaps indulging ourselves even more than usual. We've allowed ourselves the special treats.
The treat.
I've got 2 movies left. I cannot wait. I'm okay.
Yeah.
It is Easter. I have 2 movies left. I'm okay indulging a little bit.
It's like when you
some
get to
navel
the end
gazing
of,
here.
like when you get to the end of a fiscal year, like in your like company budget, and you're just like, oh, we have $5,000 left, but we have to spend it on something, or else we're gonna get like 5,000 fewer dollars next year in our budget. So you're just like buying like the fancy Herman Miller like office chairs, and you're just doing like, is it anybody's birthday? No. Well, we're getting a cake today. Like you're just spending your money to like use up all your budget. It's like that. Like, let's do an extra conference for travel. Why not? Just indulge.
Why not?
Yeah.
Man.
Does anybody have any favorite lines? Hans, you had your favorite line.
Yep.
I had 2 or 3. Now, the natural like time filter that has left me with 1. There's a bit there when he's pulling the team together, and he needs Sexy Girl to get into the club. And he says, this is like a gross line, but like for some reason I reappropriated it into being like positive and feminist. Cause he's saying to the girl, he's like, you need to get in the club, like look sexy or not, like your choice. Like, cause he's being it's a weird, like piggish thing to say. But like the fact that he's just like, you need to get into this club, like be sexy, don't be sexy, like your call. I'm just like, oh, he's giving her the choice. That's nice.
Up to you.
Like look at that. He's empowering her. Like if you want to get in sexy, that's cool. That's your special talent. If that is a talent and you want to use your talent, go ahead. But if you don't want to do that right now, if you're not feeling it, yeah. Throw in the
Seagal
messy
ever
bun and
gets
put
to
on
being
the
a feminist.
PJs and just walk in. Like you don't, which actually would, in my head, that would be the sexy version. But he's like, just do it however you want. Just go right ahead. So that's the quote that stuck out for whatever reason.
I've got one.
Okay.
Seagal, as they're like getting ready to raid the club, he says, "I've put aside violence and become a peaceful man." And I kid you not, 10 seconds later, he steps into the club and indiscriminately guns down like 5 club guards.
I don't think I caught that line.
That's a good Seagalism. That is maybe the Seagal-iest line of this. That is like saying, "Oh, he's such a good man," and then walking into a priest just like with bloody knees and being like, "Okay, have fun with that," and walking out without helping.
Yes.
No, he said something a lot more specific than that, if you remember.
Oh, unfortunately, I don't remember.
You don't?
Can you remind me?
I remember.
That one's, I'm a snatch every mother
Oh, that's
birthday.
right. Oh, good man. But yeah, I'm a nonviolent man, and then immediately that is a Seagalism right there.
Yeah, it is. I
Just
didn't
starts
catch
blasting folks. Just
actually, wait. I do.
Maybe I
remember
tuned out by then.
I do remember another quote that I liked when they're in the tea shop. I think it's in the tea shop, like right before they have the fights, and the guy says, "You were an then, and you're an asshole now." And Seagal, just in the least convinced, just the most neutral, he goes, "I'm deeply hurt. Your words deeply hurt me."
nice.
I like that line.
Good.
Dang, yeah, actually, this movie has more staying power than I anticipated.
Because it's just full of classics.
This is the real test, is we need to stagger these movies, watch them watch it and then wait a week. Because for half of these movies, you'd just be like, the recap would be, I don't know, which one, and that would be a very bad podcast, but it'd be very good, litmus test for the staying power of these movies.
But I think for this one, you could start describing like any random Seagal movie, and you could just say Attrition.
Yeah.
And it would probably work as a description.
You're like, yeah, the one there's like a bunch of like meaningless magic, and then just like some random fight scenes that don't connect. And I'm like, ooh, that could be so many.
Okay, but please help me on that, because I swear, thank you. I swear the main bad guy's whole deal was that he couldn't die, and he needed this woman to unmagic him so he could die. Is that right? I
don't know. I couldn't figure it out.
Okay, I'm glad.
All
I'm not
I
the
knew was
only
that
one.
she was magic, displays no magical powers, and then the guy, Q-Mom, what's his name? It's the evil bad guy at the end.
Yeah.
Is supposed to be like some martial arts expert, and spends the entire fight just like wildly flailing his arms.
Yeah, he kills the guy with like a sword at the end. I don't.
Yeah,
but
there's a sword fight at the end.
Yeah. I don't remember. I'm sure you're probably right. I wish I could help you. I can't help you. You're probably.
That's fine.
The magic is so poorly explained. It's probably something like that.
At least I'm not missing something.
It's
No.
dubious whether there even is magic.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, there's no line that outright says you might defeat me, but you cannot defeat the magic.
but like Q Mom could have said that, and I'd be like, yeah, that fits.
Yeah.
I missed that kind of stupid in a Seagal movie. Like, that's funny.
Jontapon.
That's awesome.
Jontapon.
You can defeat me,
Kills
but you
him.
can't defeat the magic, and then he defeats the magic. That's so funny. I love it.
Well, there's all those monks chanting for him.
And the score just goes so hard during that part for whatever reason. Yeah, can I remember anything else about this movie? One of the characters is named Hollywood, I remember.
Yeah, he was one of the
and
one of the
and
four
one of them was named
guys that-
Infidel, which is an interesting choice.
Yeah. So I will give this movie one cool moment, one cool idea.
Yeah.
We can debate about the execution on the idea.
No.
But as the gang that Q Mom leads is being introduced, they have like this sequence where they uncut up a guy. So like they've cut up a guy to dispose of the body, and it plays the whole scene where they cut him up in reverse. That was actually really cool.
That actually was pretty hard.
It was very artsy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
like
that
that.
Honestly,
that did not carry through the rest of the movie.
They play some music behind that too, and then it leads up like
There's no dialogue. It's just music and this, like, just this image of this guy being stitched back together.
Well, and it's several different shots of him. Like they show him being dragged away, and then, or well, not they.
Like his whole murder is played out in reverse.
Yeah. And the end of result of that is them talking to, I think it's a different guy, but they're talking to another guy and in front of a fish pond, and they're talking about how they would feed his cut up, like his body cut up to the fish if he doesn't give them what they need.
Yeah.
Which is what ended up happening to the guy who was just murdered.
Yeah.
No, so honestly,
One moment, you're right. One cool moment.
Well, because honestly, the first 50 minutes, like we said, very boring, doesn't affect the plot. But I think that is actually the moment when I was kind of like, okay, movie, let's see what you got. That's when I was kind of like, let me give it some leeway. Let me meet.
Well,
it
this
halfway.
is the men in hazmat suits coming up over the hill. This is the one
It's the
artsy
flowers.
moment that the movie. Yeah, this is the Patriot moment. You get one artsy moment.
You're like, oh, okay. Well, because even when do they like raid the compound and have samurai fights? What movie is that one in?
You're gonna have to be more specific.
No. Into the Sun. Because even
Into the
that
Sun,
one,
yes.
I remember like watching Into the Sun. I'm just like, there were like two cool death scenes, like
Yeah.
where the guy's just like
And, like,
silhouetted
that one
and like
fight-
the swords like stab him through the paper or whatever, and like you see the blood
Yeah.
splatter. Like that was cool.
And
Yeah.
there's like one fight filmed from up above.
Yeah.
So like that was cool.
Yeah. And this, I remember also in the first like 30 minutes of this movie, I was randomly like, the bar is low, but let's just step over the bar here for a second. I was watching, and like whenever the woman is like being chased like by the kidnappers, it's like specifically like, oh, there's like color in these scenes. Like there's just like cloths like draped that like are kind of like a rainbow of colors.
Everything else is so drab.
There's like camera movements. There's kind of like a dynamic staging to the chase scene that it wasn't like
Effort.
amazing, but like I'm watching, I'm like, okay.
I'm detecting
okay,
a pattern. I'm detecting a pattern. The less dialogue, the better the filmmaking.
I'm like, okay, they're onto something here, and then the rest of them, and then it's very bad. But there were a solid 2 or 3 moments where I'm just like, okay, movie, I'm meeting you halfway. Thank you for meeting me halfway.
I think in the Seagal script at this point, it just says she is kidnapped, and then the director got to figure out how that works.
That has to just be like there's a chase scene, and then the director was like, well, I kind of got some like the director's DP, whoever is just like, I kind of got some like visuals, cooking up here, and they just went with it, and it turned out like pretty all right.
Because every scene where someone has to actually like eventually talk, no, bad.
It's like it's not No Country for Old Men, but I was like, oh, okay, I'm with this.
Yeah.
So where are you at emotionally now, Hans, with this movie?
Yeah, how do you feel?
I'm still angry. I'm still angry because I'm not gonna not be angry because it was a waste of my time and it made
fair.
it made me mad.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right in that there was more. If you dig just a little bit beyond the surface, there's a lot to look at here. it's still a 1-star movie for me.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
1 star. We're like
1 star.
in perfect sync on the rating. I think that's the thing.
Yeah.
Is over time, I think like if you were to take the effort to go through and like average our ratings, like the disparity has decreased. I think we have kind of
Except
come
a
closer
couple
together in
episodes
the
ago
star
where
ratings.
Aaron rated
there's
it 2
outliers,
stars
sure.
and all of us rated it a half.
There's like the exception that proves the rule. There's outliers. But I think if you were
Sometimes
to
I just
average like the scatter plot
generous.
of our ratings, it would kind of pull closer over time, even
Yeah.
when we have wildly different emotional responses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I
critical
definitely-
palette has merged together. Our cycles have synced.
Yeah. See, this is good. We all bring a little something a little bit different to the table here.
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
when I can say something just annoying and gross, and Hans just like glosses right past it, like he doesn't.
We've known each other for a very long time. I don't.
You're just like moving on.
We've known each
Someone's
other
like,
for
"Wait, hold on,
15
pause," and you're like,
years.
"Nah, we're just moving on. just let him have it. Don't give him the satisfaction."
I've heard you say stuff like that for 1.5 decades.
That's a long time.
That's a long time.
It's a long time.
It's too long, arguably,
No.
or not long. We could have been podcasting that whole the lost
Yeah,
potential.
yeah. It took us 15 years to start a
We should have
podcast
started
together.
podcasting back in fifth grade.
3 white guys have been friends that long, and it took us this long to make a podcast.
The restraints, honestly.
Yeah.
We're heroes.
Straight.
We went so long. We were Atlas holding up the world. We were, Sisyphus pushing the boulder.
Finally got it up that hill.
And then we said, that's enough. I don't care about
Yeah.
let the boulder drop. I don't care. I don't.
The restraint.
Honestly. Yeah, we already gave it our star ratings. I
Yeah.
don't know
That's it.
anyone who was in this movie who went on to do anything. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. I don't care about this movie enough to check. It wasn't good. Don't watch it. 1 star.
2 more. We got 2 more. That's all I'm focusing on.
Rudy
Got
Youngblood,
2
who
more.
plays Infidel, he was actually in Apocalypto, and he won the First Americans in the Arts Award for Best Actor.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Good for him. How did he end up in this? This is like one of the last things he's done.
Vithia Pensringarm, he was in The Hangover Part 2. He was in Only God Forgives. Okay.
Oh, his old Seagal's old buddy, Siu Wong Fan. I think I pronounced that right. Has been in 3 Ip Man movies,
Nice.
which makes sense. He's like the only guy in here who looks like who like actually did some kung fu,
Yeah. Yeah. No,
did some martial arts stuff.
There's some fun. Yeah, there's nothing. There's no, John C. McGinley's or like Michael Caine's or anything,
No.
No John C. McGinley with excellent glasses.
Oh my god! If this movie had, let's not even say John C. McGinley. What's like somebody else like on this similar, like if this movie had like Neil Flynn with like those stellar amazing glasses, like some kind of analog, it would be perfect. Cherry on top.
I'm done talking about this. What are we looking
Like,
at next
okay,
week?
discussion.
2 left.
Yeah.
We
Something
came into
Commander,
this like so
isn't it?
ready, like so much to talk about, and then like this is nice. This is because there's no let's ramble for Mad Max for 10 minutes. It's just like done. And
Yeah.
Done
play,
and done.
play theme music. See you next week.
Yeah.
It's something
Next-
about Commander.
Next week we're watching General Commander. Oh, what would you watch instead?
Oh, okay. You'll have to splice this out.
Oh. Ooh.
Yes.
How about this?
The 3 Ip Man movies.
How about this? I'm going to do it backwards.
Oh, okay.
Instead of watching 46 Seagal movies, you should just watch this. Then you've seen them all.
So your movie that you should watch instead of Attrition is Attrition, or your movie that you should watch. So rather than answering what you should watch instead of this, what you should watch instead of this entire project is this.
Yes.
But we've recommended
Getting
time and time
real
again
meta.
not to watch any of these. That's why you listen to us talk about them.
But if I have to stick to the original project, what I would watch instead is Rush Hour 3.
Rush Hour 3 is going on. Hans,
Okay.
I like that you continually posit ourselves as like some kind of savior. Like, you don't have to watch these. That's why you're listening to us. As if there's some kind of like Dr. Jekyll, like werewolf. Like every single person on the planet is like, oh no, must watch Seagal. Wait a minute. I can hear a plot recap and their general thoughts. Okay, I'm safe. I don't have to watch it. Like as if anybody
takes even
would be
longer than
tempted
just
to watch
watching
Seagal
the
without
movie.
us.
The tagline of this project
But you
is
just-
we're
you just
watching
keep
them all so
listening-
you don't have to.
You're like, hey, doctors, nurses, like teachers, like firefighters, those aren't the real heroes. Like, you would be watching a Seagal movie right now if it wasn't for us. We're the real heroes. Like, the Doctors Without Borders that are fixing cleft palates, f*** them. They're not podcasters watching Seagal movies.
These are not my words.
We're the real heroes here.
Go watch The Italian Job, the original one. Because I haven't seen it and I want to.
One of you already recommended the Italian Job. Maybe it was me. One of us recommended the Italian Job.
I
already
think
in a past
Hans already
episode.
recommended the Italian Job like 20 movies ago.
Yeah. Wrong answer. Try again.
Why, I'm not allowed to have a duplicate?
No.
No.
We've recommended John Wick and
we've all done
Ocean's,
John
the Ocean's
Wick.
11.
I think we've
done
done
it like 20 times.
I think we've also all done Taken at least like twice.
Yeah, you specifically. Don't tell me I can't have a redo.
Well, can you at least have a backup and on deck?
Uh,
Sorry, the red box is all out of the Italian Job. So, what else can I get? What can I get, Sifu?
Airplane 2.
No! You've already done Airplane 2!
I have? Really?
I'm almost certain of it. Knowing you.
I know we've done Airplane. I don't know about Airplane 2.
No, I just asked Hans for like a sandwich recommendation. He's like, Airplane 2. Yes. Yes.
Airplane
Naked
2 is
Gun.
great. I just watched it for the first time not too long ago, and it's fantastic. I can understand why it got a bad rap because it's just Airplane again. It's the same thing a second time, and people weren't really into seeing that in the theater. But if you're like me and you like stupid, dumb, dry humor, just pun after pun after pun after pun, and you like Airplane, you'll like Airplane too. Just go into it expecting more Airplane. It's perfect. And William Shatner shows up out of nowhere, so that's always a plus.
That's the best you got.
What? What do you want?
I mean, I can't. Mine's not any good. I'm just like.
Yeah, what's yours?
I'm just like attrition. The word attrition kind of sounds like the word annihilation. So you should watch it. And those both came out in
Ooh,
2018.
yeah.
Oh,
This came out the same
sorry.
year as Annihilation.
Sorry.
This came out the same year as.
So it
the
came out the same year,
critical
and the title
success
sounds kind of
commercial
the same,
failure
so that's more
Annihilation.
relevant.
Yeah, you should watch Annihilation. It is a
Okay,
You
gut-wrenching
should
all right.
watch Annihilation.
Why
That's
you
right.
you always gripe on my recommendations for not having anything to do with the movie we just watched, and then you go
You
recommend something
could.
that the title sounds kind of similar.
You could watch The Last Samurai with Tom Cruise to also just have like a way.
We've
to,
definitely
like,
recommended that
displaced
before.
into an Eastern culture.
Yeah.
Or Shogun, the series on.
We've
Hulu.
definitely recommended
good.
that before too.
Yeah, it's hard. You expect me to know more than 47 movies? Like Shanghai Noon, Owen Wilson, Jackie Chan.
I've recommended that one.
Oh yeah, this is hard. This is getting real. This is getting real tricky.
It's tough, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not hating. I'm just saying.
It's okay. We only have 2 more of these.
We're not professionals. It's
What if we
okay.
just stop recommending movies? No, we've even done that before. There have been weeks where we didn't
No.
recommend a movie.
No, we can do it. We can do it. I think we're allowed to have some repeats this time around. I think next time we have to take it upon ourselves to give some good,
Actually,
solid
We've done the
recommendations.
Ocean's movies for pulling a team together to do a heist. Swordfish. I'm going to recommend Swordfish. I
Oh.
guarantee that I have not
Oh.
recommended Swordfish before.
That's actually a good one. I don't
You
think I've ever
also-
seen Swordfish.
Swordfish, also very famously, a big part of this movie is that you have Halle Berry, and her job is to be sexy woman. Her skill is sexy woman. She was paid like $5 million or something to take her top off in that movie. Like,
Wow.
that was what they sold the movie on.
Wow.
Because this was 2001. And
Yeah.
John Travolta wasn't going to put people in seats, so, you know.
It was a different time.
It's a different time. And that one's also not very good. That one in some ways is probably actually worse than Attrition. But they bring a crew together to do a heist. Yeah, I need to rewatch Swordfish. You need to watch Swordfish. That's my recommendation. You don't need to. Don't watch Swordfish, actually.
Don't. No. I'm done, I think.
I'm done. Roll
Yeah.
credits. Play music.
Yeah.
So
I'll
How do
put
I-
that
how do
together.
I not
I'll
know
add
what
something
sounds like?
unnecessary in post.
Well, but what's our?
Some blood splatter over everything.
Oh,
yeah, wait, are we
just
gonna stop?
sound effects?
Yeah,
like
wait.
for the blood splatter.
Zach was gonna ask a question.
Well,
Oh.
what do we need to talk about? Just something for like 5 minutes to give you like a post music like little thingy there.
No, I think I got it.
Just
Yeah, it's this right here, right now.
Or just all this
Yeah.
swordfish talk is like in the other.
I don't want people to think that sometimes we say stuff just so that it gets into the post episode chatter.
Yeah, we don't.
Because
we-
I've never done
the-
I've never
the
done that. Have
artifice
you
of
done
the
that?
podcast. I haven't
No.
done that, not intentionally.
No, I always
I've never
pick
said
pick a
let
funny
me-
bit out.
Let me bring up a discussion here to go.
We don't
on
try to
with
be
it.
funny on this show. We just are.
I don't like that sentence. Like, I think I hated that line because that is like what like the season 8's like Zach like line would be.
Yeah.
Like when you really like when I don't get to be a full complex character anymore, when I'm just like catchphrases and kind of like when you just say like, you know, what the average person watching the show like gets from him, and you like just hone in on those characteristics. That's what I would say like a couple seasons from now. You weren't supposed to say that now. I was supposed to say that
sorry.
like 8 years from now.
I'll cut that out. Save it for season 8.
Yeah, and like in voice modulated,
Time
that's why
capsule.
I actually said it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, that's me. I'm done trying to be funny and trying to intentionally say things. Oh no, the artifice is gone.
That means one of us has to die.